Welcome to the show once again. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That went so deep. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, brother. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and sister. Welcome back. Glad you made it. It's not a social production. That's right. We're doing it on May the 29th, 2026. Thank you for joining me once again. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. If you've been with me from the get-go, wagwans. If you're tuning in from Canada, hello. If you're tuning in from all the way below us, like under us, and not beneath us, below us, but geographically speaking, the United States of America is the most beautiful 50 states in the world. Further down south, the Mexico's below us, like sandwiched all the way, and then you got South America's, holding down the power bottoms, the South Americans over there in Africa, also power bottoms, over there in the Europes, all the way from West Germany to East Germany, it's or just Germany in general. Italy, over there in Senegal, over there in Cote d'Ivoire, over there in Nairobi. What are you doing over there in Zimbabwe? Over there in back to Halifax, back to Canada again. Why not? And Asia, all around Asia, the girthiest, thickest continent ever, pulsating with like a giant vein going through it. It's the ladies love it. Nonetheless, over there in Australia, and we'll get to Australia as well. New Zealand's all around the world in the water. In a dwelling, in a semi-detached, in a full detached, in a high rise, in a condo, in a condom, you get it. Wherever you're tuning in from, thank you for joining me. It's Friday. It's Friday. When I got friends. It's Friday. My friends. It's Friday once again, my friends. Welcome. Get a sip of this bad boy. And let's get right into it. First and foremost, I want to say this. I heard the plotting that went ahead. I heard we got on top of it. I heard this fucking boils my titties. This fucking gets my pubic hair straightened out and then it curls it back up, if you know what I'm talking about. They're trying to plot assassination attempts on Ivanka Trump's. How dare you, you disgusting son of a bitch. The perpetrators have been arrested. I believe there was one. I'm not sure if there were more, but apparently there was an assassination plot on Ivanka Trump. And this son of a bitch. Arrested in Turkey, Mohammed Gabla Khamla. I forget his full name. Khamsalam Falafel. Falafel Hot, Mohammed Falafel Hot was arrested in Turkey for allegedly plotting an assassination on Ivanka Trump. And apparently he born, I'm not sure where he was born, but I believe he was Iraqi, but then I believe he was backed by the IRGC, these motherfuckers. So before anything gets going, I just I thought about this long and hard. I found out we gotta get in there. We gotta get in there and deter, but also fight back, which is why I spent a ton of time. And I mean, I didn't have too much time, but I had enough time to come up with a product which can save. You don't go for. Let's just step back for a second. Beep 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 beep. Let's just skirt pull up for a second. You don't go after beautiful bitches out there, all right? Rule number one, and in the book of rules, you don't go. It's maybe not rule number one, but it's up there. It's top. I want to say to play it safe. Top 100 rules: you do not go after hot bitches. All right, I know she's again everything to varying degrees. I'm not saying she's like super, but still for her age, all right. Despite the fact that she's not, prime hottie, but still, all right. With all due respect, if we're being objective, all right, you do not go after hot bitches. So that's first and foremost a rule. Everything's got rules to it. Even if you think it's just like madness and chaos, there are no. Everything's fair and love and more. Everything's fair and love. Whatever the saying, everything is fair and love and whore. Everything is fair and love and score. There are still rules, all right? You do not go after aged but still fine bitches, all right? That's rule number 27. Safe to say I've 27 or 34. I can't remember correctly. I got to go back to the handbook. Everybody's got a copy, I'm sure of it. But nonetheless, but that's when I decided I got to take matters into my own hand and start developing something that can assist our hot bitches out there, wherever you are, whether you're high ranking, mid ranking, low ranking, you're working your way to mid rank, and maybe one day you too will be high ranking. We've got to protect you. Which is why I decided to come up with a mechanism, a device, and I do need to. This is where I need to get into. If we can work together, and your boy is all about, keeping governments small, but sometimes you need to maybe perhaps get involved with the gov, .gov, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking bulletproof bras for the bitches, bulletproof bras for the broads. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I came up with. Patented idea, never heard anywhere else before, never attempted anywhere else before, and never, never even fathomed in a million years by anyone else. I did it solely by myself. And of course, I did go out and reach out to a team of the best scientists out there. And by that, I mean the scientists who are remaining behind to work on other, because there's a lot of them are busy, and you're like, what are they busy with? We'll get to that. We'll get to what the scientists are busy with down the line, but they were busy. So I found a few good ones, maybe like not the top, maybe not, graduating at the top of their class, but still, they attend, maybe they didn't attend some of the classes. Maybe low-key, they just registered and, had a parking spot, which they did not pay for. Look, maybe they spelled their name wrong on the application. But you know what? Let's not get so fixated on credentials. I got in touch with scientists. Let's just put it at that, all right? And we came up with this ultimate fantastical bra that is both not just giving you, it looks great, so your tits are fine. You can actually, this is a daily wear. This is not like, do I need to only wear this if my life is being threatened? First and foremost, you don't know when your life is being threatened. Most people whose lives are threatened, they don't even know their lives are threatened. So this is a daily wear. This is not just something like, I've given a speech, now I gotta, this is, you never know. Time is 2026. You best be protecting yourself. And this bulletproof bra will eliminate all the possibilities of you getting shot in the titties. Everywhere else is, now that I come to think of it, everywhere else is low-key kind of exposed. But if they shoot you in the titties, you think this time was not my friend. I'll tell you again, if I had a little bit more time, maybe I would have come up with some idea that would cover your entire body. But at least, again, where's your heart at? Where's your heart at? It's behind your titties. That's one of the most important body parts you want to cover. So I came up with this bulletproof bra for the titties, for the broads out there. You wear this, and don't ask me how it works. It's a combination of, if you push me into a corner, I might just spill the beans and tell you how exactly it works. It may be something to do with magnetic fields, magnets. I'm not going to say more. Something to maybe frequencies. Let's just put it at that. Maybe the bra detects the bullets are incoming. It puts out a frequency, deters the bullets, turns the bullets around like a cartoon, and shoots at the shooters themselves. And that's pretty much all you want, really, in a bulletproof bra. Not only does it deter the bullets from penetrating your titty and your heart, but also attacks the attacker, which is one of the things most people forget. It's run, duck, hide, but also get the attacker. So we did our best, but I believe this is where .gov comes in, so we can partner up and put this out to the masses. I'm thinking this product probably serves anyone between the ages of 2 to 92, I want to say. This is a big market. It's a big market. I don't want this to be made in China, so please, .gov, I'm just putting it out there. Let's get involved. Again, we have it in different colors. If you're wondering, we have it in different colors. It comes in black, comes in white, metallic, gunmetal black, matte black, matte white, cream. We're getting like some sort of skin cut, creamy, just like a light, pinkish. We're working with the different colors. Color is not our main focus at this point. We don't care about the colors, but in terms of we'll work it out. I just want to say again, how dare you come at our bitches So fucking be warned. Second of all, we're on top of it. So good luck penetrating our titties, our most beloved titties out there, because we will cover them up with these, all encompassing. They're, I don't even know what to call them anymore. To be honest, it's more than a bra. It's more than a bra. Some say some say, I don't say it, some say it's life itself is captured by this one product, which everybody is lining up to buy. Dozens. People are lining up in the streets where we don't even have storefronts yet, but people are lining up, that's a promising sign. You want people to get excited, and they are. They're actually forgetting to feed their children, but they're going out and lining up for these bras. And they'll be out at the store. We got to make the stores first. But the lining up is a good sign. Again, we're excited. We're here to say that we're glad to hear that Muhammad, shish kebab, and Muhammad, the hummus nose was apprehended. And yeah, there's, son of a bitch, try to come at our hot bitches. Gets my pubic hair just entangled, and that's not fun for me. Nonetheless, we took care of it. Let's just say that. Took care of it. What about the men's, you asked? Men's are, I can't say that you could wear the bra. It'll still work on you, but low key, you'll look kind of, you'll look a little faggy. I'm not gonna lie to you. We're working with some other material, try to see if it's about the shape. We can't deviate from the shape of the bra, so you still gotta maybe some sort of chest plate for pectorals, but still it's something to do with the shape. It really helps with turn around those bullets and putting out those frequencies, but we're working on it. The men should be fine for the time being. Nonetheless, speaking of man, I heard Oman's gonna potentially be a target, or they've been put on notice. Oman has been on notice. Oman's been put on notice. That's what it's. I've heard this. People are saying it. Oman might be a target, and I heard this to myself, and I said, without knowing much, first thought, a bit sexist, to be honest with you guys. To be honest, because you hear this. You're walking down the street, a man has been put on notice, and you're like, it's 2026. First and foremost, why do we gotta just be like, a man's a target? And rightly so. I mean, like, historically speaking, yeah, sure, men have been, predominantly from the two sexes that exists, they predominantly more violent, more prone to, the acts of aggression, all that. We testosterone filled, we get it. But to just go out there and be like, a man's a target, again, it's times have changed. I don't want to. And I'm not even saying, I don't even know if it's a good thing, to be honest with you, but at the same, I do believe in, giving opportunities to women to also be target, because it's not fair to just be randomly saying a man's a target or a man's got to be put on notice. Well, what about a woman? What about a woman? It's, again, I don't want to keep referencing the time, but it does bear noting that things have changed. They can vote now, and not always in the best, they don't have, most of them, whatever, to each their own. Some of them don't have the best judgment, but still, if a man's going to be a target or a man's going to be put on notice, it's two can tango this way. What's that saying? Two can eat a mango and cut it in half and still have some remaining for the afternoon snack. What do they say about tangos? You know what I'm talking about. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that it's just, it's easy. It's intellectual laziness. That's what I say. It's that I'm not even, trying to dissect it too much, but I just hear a man's a target. I'm like, okay, first and foremost, where did a man come from? Think about that one. A woman, that's right. That was rhetorical. You guys know better. You guys know. So I hear this, I say, fair enough. First and foremost, let's hear a man out. All right, what did a man say? What did a man do? Before we put him on notice or make him a target. And then also, reach around, talk to the neighborhood, talk to the family members. What did a woman do? What did a woman do? What plural women's, because you hear a man is on target or is on notice, and you're like, were there any women, involved in this story? Or is this just some sort of, or are we going back to some sort of, archaic way of living where we only, elevate men and leave women behind? Are we not going to give a woman an opportunity to, become a target or be put on notice? If I don't know what it leads to, of course, but still you'd want them to get an opportunity. You never know what's going to happen if they don't even get the opportunity. God damn, again, you're saying out there, Rob, there's so many battles you're fighting out there by yourself. And it's okay, ladies and gentlemen, do not worry about me. I will do my best to tackle as many subjects and as many important issues as possible. But when I hear stuff like this, I'm not going to wait around for other men and women to get involved. When I hear a man's going to be a target or put on notice, I roll up my sleeves and I say, sister, you don't need to wait your turn. Today's your day. Today, 2026 is your day. When you become a target, a woman, or you get put on notice, a woman, put women on notice. Put a woman on notice. If you're gonna put a man on notice or make a man a target, give her a chance. Let's see what she can do when she does become a target. Let's see what she does when she's put on notice. Maybe she'll actually change your minds. Ever think about that? You give a woman an opportunity, maybe she'll change your mind. Maybe she'll outperform a man. Maybe she'll do better or worse. I don't know why a man's being a target or put on noted, but nonetheless, whatever we want them to do, maybe they'll do better or just as good. I'm not saying, and yeah, sometimes they are fighting a uphill battle where they gotta be, 10 times better than a man in a field to have us be like, yeah, maybe we should give them opportunities. But this is heartbreaking. I just want to say this again. Come on, what are we doing here? Putting a man on target without even considering a woman. It's switch it up. Let's take a step back and say, hey, we're all gifted in different ways. We might not all be equal in similar ways, but we all have our traits that are, we all got our pros and cons. And yeah, let's make it, instead of just making the conversation predominantly male focused and male, let's bring him in. Let's bring in a woman or two, all right? Maybe putting him on the spot and giving him an opportunity will actually show, maybe we can all learn something. Maybe we can all learn something, all right? So please. A lot of things, they say things happen and they say things happen thrice or things happen in threes or sometimes more or less. Sometimes it just happens once or twice. Three, 4 times. Things happen sometimes. It's just curious to see similar events with there's no connection to them at all, but it seems it's just like one of those stories you hear from one place and a similar story kind of sort of happens in another place and you're like, what's going on? What am I talking about? I'm talking about what you're talking about. Chemical tank explosions. There was one in SoCal getting heated up because people have had a really good time with this chemical tank in SoCal, somewhere near Disneyland or something. I'm not quite sure where it was, somewhere in SoCal, but there was this chemical tank and people were like, we love our chemical tank, but let's just let it get hot because we're like, we like our chemical tanks hot. And at points people had to be evacuated, like 50,000 people or something, I don't know. But then I think they got a hold of that one. That one's safe. It didn't explode as far as I'm concerned. But then another one randomly exploded. This one was at a paper mill somewhere. Some sort of liquid chemical that they use in a pulp and paper mill to make paper. And the chemical tank exploded. And it unfortunately sucks. It sucks. Killed a few people. And a few are unaccounted for, which we don't know where they're unaccounted for. They don't have accounting. They don't know how to count. These people don't have the slightest clue of how to count. These people are unaccounted for. They're not, fucking Jim over there can't count. Barbara also can't count. Unaccounted, and it sucks. But that's the point that I'm trying to make. There's many points that I'll make in regard to this topic. First and foremost, unlike the vast majority of podcasts, shows, people in show business, people in the media, unlike the vast majority of people here at Glad You Made It, we stand firmly against explosions. All right, we're gonna condemn this shit. We're gonna nip it in the. A lot of people like to play it fast and loose on different podcasts, shows. even in the music industry, Hollywood would get out there. Not this guy. I'm gonna go out on the limb here. All right. I don't care about the backlash. You think I care about the backlash? I will stand firm on my ground. All right. I'm gonna hold it down. Even if it means I'm gonna have to hold it down for myself for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. I'll hold it down for 20 years. If eventually people will come around and say no, we need to stand firmly against explosions. And yeah, I'm not a fan of this. So I just want to make that clear, make it fucking clear, because I don't care about what other people want to put. However you want to spin this firmly, this guy, again, putting my reputation, my work reputation on the line. I'm firmly standing against explosions. Unless, of course, there's certain circumstances where we might here at Glad You Made It, change our mind, and those circumstances may include, but are not limited to, these chemical explosions having some sort of impact on the individuals involved to gain some sort of superpowers. If that is the case, are we seeing the birth of Gotham's new villains? Perhaps. I'm not quite sure. But again, in that particular circumstance, I could see myself completely being on board, despite the fact that we're not here supporting villains. We like them a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. All right, fine. Depending on the villains, if they're a good villain, all right? Everybody can get behind the Joker. Everybody can get behind the Penguin. Come on. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, we need a couple of new, maybe perhaps there's some bright side to this. Maybe there's a positive in all of this. Is there somebody out there, and we're reaching out first? Remember who reached out first. If you have exposure to these chemicals, I think there was another explosion. This one again, just explosion after explosion. There was a Dallas apartment building that just went up in flames too. That sucks, but there's no chemicals involved in that one, so I don't think we're gonna get any villains with, you're not gonna get Two-Dick coming out of that, because we already had Two-Face, and we need some new ones too. You can't come out there and be like, I'm Two-Face. You can't do that shit because it's already been done. You got to come out there and be like, I'm growing back foreskin by the hour. I'm growing back like 7 inches of foreskin by the hour. It'll take some time for you to harness your new power, but we're here for it. Or, I'm 4 clits. I've been exposed to chemicals. I got 4 clits. And you can remove your clits and throw it at people like ninja stars. And once they attach to people, they suck their bloods like leeches. I don't know, you got to come up with a good name. Can you ask yourself right now, I need you to reach down in your pants. If you've been anywhere near these explosions, near these chemical tank explosions, reach down in your crotchal area, females or females. See if you can, if you notice growth of any, if you have extra clits right now, see if you can remove them and chuck it at your neighbor, chuck it at your children or your husband. See if it latches on and starts sucking blood. I'm just trying to see if we've gotten anything out of this that's useful. Leave a comment, make a video yourself, attach it to, hashtag this video, and then attach a video to it. Make it, just leave a comment telling us about your experiences of how you've been impacted by this chemical tank explosion. Can you taste food way more? Can you, because sometimes people talk about losing their sense of taste or smell. Have you gained a sense of higher taste and smell? Can you really taste that pasta? Can you really fucking, although that's not going to be helpful in crime fighting, unless it's or even doing crime because you're a villain, I guess. Maybe you fucking harness that power and you'd be like, oh, the city will have to wait and see the power of my food tasting abilities. And you sit there and you count cash while you taste food and tell everybody how it really tastes, and then kind of look down on them because they're just regular taste buds run around with. Now, I don't know how it's going to work, to be honest with you, but again, these are the types of questions that we're here to ask. All right, first and foremost, condemning explosions. Secondly, saying that we're only here for it unless if somebody gets a superpower out of it. And by the way, is it one of those fads? Is it a summer fad sort of thing? That, oh look, we're all doing chemical tank explosions. Everybody jump on board. It's the next cool thing, because we don't jump on bandwagons and fads here. We might, I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, but I'm just saying, I don't think I spent a lot of money and resources and energy trying to develop this bulletproof bra. I don't have time and energy to go and now get a giant chemical tank and fill it up with chemicals. I don't know too much about chemical tanks, to be honest. I don't have the space right now in this compound. I can only expand so much. So for the time being, I hope everyone's safe and sound. If you've gained any superpowers, reveal yourself. The race to the moon is back on. It was on, but it's still on, and then it's on again, bitch. It's on. We're going to the moon again, and I like the moon. I like space. I like exploring. I don't care how much money. I don't care how much money it costs. People always have these arguments where it's like, again, if it's we could do way more with this money, then we won't. We won't. Whatever money is allocated to the moon, it's not going to you or anybody else. And I like exploring the spaces. All right. The first time, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that we're going back to it because now we really gotta go. We really gotta go this time because now China is amped up to go to the moon by 2029, by 23, around the same timeline as we want to go to the moon, around the late 2020s, early 2030s. It's a race. It's a race, is what it is. All right. Back in the day, it used to be the Soviet Union and us, the Americans, and now it's us, the Americans versus the Chinese. So we gotta, because they're sending stuff. They're sending Chinese monkeys. I'm not sure if they did or not, to be honest with you. But I do know that they did send artificial Chinese embryos. That's what they're doing right now. They're sending up all the way over there to the Chinese version of the ISS. And that's artificial embryos. They want to try to see if they can produce babies, but like not fully. They're not gonna, that's what they said. They said they're not gonna develop full-grown fetuses or babies, but like low-key, we know in China, when the CCP says they're not growing real fetuses or babies, you know they're growing the realest fetuses and babies. But that's what I've heard. That's what I'm deducing right now. And even if maybe they're telling the truth, maybe they're not growing real fetuses and actual babies. This is our chance to grow real fetuses and babies in space. The reason is actually I found out apparently it's a different atmosphere, obviously, and it's a different atmosphere. So yeah, people apparently develop differently up in space. So we got to send these artificial, embryos and wombs and sperm and jizz and eggs to see how the babies develop, because we might not have our version of humans up in space, bitch. Up in space, we might not have regular humans. They might be space babies, and they might have deformities or cool features, like a drop top baby. You know what I'm talking about? Like a baby that fucking has got the hydraulics and that baby fucking levitates or some shit. I don't know. Maybe that, a baby with a good sound system. That's, maybe that's space baby. We don't know. Or they might come out fucking, just hard of hearing. They might be, deaf babies or they might be, poor vision. Who knows? These babies could have could be babies with extremely long foreheads, like all forehead. Maybe it's a baby with a forehead and like a tiny head, but a giant forehead. We don't know how they're gonna react into, being baked in space essentially. So the Chinese are doing that. We got to do that too. But we can't just sit around and be like, well, we'll let the CCP, send communist embryos into space, and we're not gonna send capitalist embryos into space. So I want you to collect your jizz. Your nation needs you. Your nation, and a lot of people are often in these times are like, I need to find some meaning. I need to find some way to contribute. I need to do something. But men's, store your jizz in mason jars. All right, we're gonna need a lot of this stuff to be sent. We're gonna have to, gallons and gallons of jism. Collect it, ladies. I'm afraid we're gonna have to ask you to do some heavy lifting as well. The days of frivolously walking into the woods and releasing your eggs into the wild so you can have free range eggs, I'm afraid are over, ladies. You need to also grab a mason jar, collect your eggs, quit being so, it's crazy to me. They know they've got a finite number of eggs, yet every month they're just like, I don't know what happened to I lost my egg. I don't know. I guess I can look at the bottom of my purse. I guess it could be in the glove compartment. I don't know where my eggs are. Frivolously spending these eggs that they are obviously aware that it's a finite resource. So please, I'm here for your nature walks, but please grab a mason jar. No one's looking in the woods. Lift a leg, queef it out, collect it, cover it with a lid, refrigerate it when you get back home. And again, we're gonna have to send these artificial, ours is gonna be real. I don't care what the Chinese do. And I love my Chinese. I don't care what the CCP does. If they're sending artificial, we send official. You know what I'm talking about. Actual hard jizz. Like not maybe we can freeze it, but nonetheless, we're gonna send it there and see how our babies form versus the CCP babies. We'll see. We'll see who wins this race. Also, NASA got me excited because now we're putting the moon bases on. Apparently, we're building it on the South Pole. I don't know how we're gonna do it. We're gonna obviously be sending astronauts there soon, hopefully, and also, you know, rovers and drones and shit that just, you know, and robots too, to build a moon base on the South Pole, so we can wave goodbye or hello to one another. Be like, can you hear me all the way from over there? He's like, yeah, you're a retard holding an iPhone. I can hear you fine. He's like, all right then, never mind. Can you see my ball sack? And then, you know, flash your ball sack. Yeah, I can see your ball sack. So the point is that we got to do that. We got to do that, and I'm excited for it. I just want to say again, if you're thinking to yourself, what can I do to, you know, contribute a little bit? Save that jizz, collect that egg, start exercising, start smoking. Start smoking. We're gonna need hard men and women to get out. You think it's space cowboys shit? You think the elements are gonna want you to not smoke out there? There's nothing up there. All right, all you're gonna do is do science shit, which means 2-3 hours of beakers and Bunsen burners. The rest of it, squatting and smoking. All right, to come up with things that you're gonna do up there. So please, sit inside a washing machine and do a couple of cycles, see how you react to the G-force, and report back, all right? Your country needs you in a different way. Your country's always needed you, and you need your country, and that's nice. So fuck yeah, here it's hell's yes to the moon base. We might not even be able to fuck in space. Like, we can, but we might not even be able to make babies. That's the whole, we need to do this stuff to figure it out. Our jizz gets impacted by the gravity, because it's like, if our jizz doesn't have gravity, it doesn't know where to go to find the egg. So we might have to make babies in actual, you know, artificial wombs. That might be the whole space baby venture. We'll see how it all goes. But again, we need your juices out there in order to experiment. We gotta get there, man. We gotta get there. Despite what you think, despite how you feel about it, you're like, I gotta worry about buying a home here. I get it. I get that aspect of it, but still, you do not want a communist moon. You do not want a communist moon. You want some sort of, you know, so again, priorities, yes. Also, fighting different battles all day, every day. What was that movie that we all watched that won the Oscars, I think? Multiple battles all day, every day, somewhere. Some were battling one battle. Battle rapping one battle rap at a time, one battle rap after another battle rap. You know, that was the movie. You remember, ladies and gentlemen. David Rush, former CIA agent. Apparently David Rush took 300 gold bars from the CIA, apparently, and he shoved it up his ass. True story. He shoved it up his ass and he said, and they found it in his home with him inside. They found David Rush in his home with 300 gold bars worth $40 million shoved up his ass. When they asked him, David Rush, what are you doing with these 300 gold bars up your ass? You know what David Rush responded? He said, work-related expenses. Like, why'd you have to put up your ass though, David Rush? And to that, he said, I'd like to speak with my lawyer. True story. I'm here for it. I like this because a lot of times, yeah, obviously, you know, there's stuff that the CIA does by the books, and I don't know anything about the CIA. That's the only things I do know are from things that I've you know, read a little bit online and watched a good amount of movies with the CIA in it. So one could say I know the most about the CIA. I'm not going to say that, but some might say that. The point is, I like this. I actually like this because, yeah, sometimes the CIA does things by the books. All right, you got the guys that, you know, fucking serve and protect and do things by the book. Sometimes you got a little bit of chaos. Sometimes people do things that are, you know, a little bit chaotic. I'm not even sure what they do. Again, not sure what they do. But the point is, you need some individuals to sometimes take ample amounts of cash, whether it's just, you know, gold bars, diamonds, watches, who knows, or just cash, or just a few million cash, to go out there and be agents of change, all right? So before you get on your high horse and you're like, oh, David Rush, Forbes agent puts 300, it's easy to look at someone who, it's easy to look at someone and say he put 300 gold bars up his urethra, and he said it's just work-related expense. Before you judge that, all right, Mr. and Mrs. Judgy Pants, all right, you judge cockface, realize that he might have done some good with that money. 40 million that he might have, again, maybe splurge a little bit on himself, buying a new car, buying some, couple of pairs of pants, a couple of t-shirts, maybe a nice watch, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's got a lot of money. He might do some, all the movies that you love, the people that we root for are essentially rogue agents who take some money that they have had and do some good and fighting actual bad and evil in the world. So before judging David Rush, ask yourself, do you not want some sort of rogue agent with a lot of money out there, pew-pewing, fighting bad boys and bad gals? That's what I said to myself, and I said, you know what, I like him to get away with this, so hashtag free David Rush. We're here for it. Fight the power. It's always the system trying to hold down another black man. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, he's not black, but in this scenario, I want him to be black. In this scenario, I will paint him black. If I need to make this guy full-bodied black, I will. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, to let the man roam around. It's just, it doesn't matter. It's just money. Let some people have some. Can't a CIA agent get a nice car can he get a nice car that, fucking shoots bullets out of its exhaust pipe, and the AC is actually it's got a built-in penguin that's just dispensing ice out of the AC, unit. Can it be a cool car where you turn on the radio or the stereo system, and there's a full fucking band in there playing, maybe miniaturized band playing in there. And then in case of emergencies and ruckus with bad people, they jump out, get into full-size mode, turn their instruments into weapons, and start assisting you in fighting the bad guys. Can't we have that guy? Must it always be jot down all your expenses and let us know, bring back the receipts, Lame-ass shit. Crime fighting sometimes takes a lot of money, and sometimes you need to put that gold bar up your ass, all right? $300, 300 bars worth of gold up your ass. Sometimes you need to do that. So please do not be so judgmental. Let the man walk and see what he can do. Again, you talk about just giving a man and a woman a chance. Talk about that. This no right arm bitch on the internet has been going viral because I think she's in Florida. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I saw a video of this no right arm bitch getting pulled over by a car or by a cop. The cop comes up to her, says, I saw you holding your phone in your right hand. And she's like, where? No hand. She's like, I got no arm. Fucking she raises her arm, but no hand. Fucking, oh, you mean this arm? You mean this nub? Nub bitch. I like this bitch. I like her attitude. I like what she's about, because she's like, you can't have seen me holding my phone in my right arm because I don't have it. And then again, she lifts it, just no arm, just a nub. And the police officer's like, well, I saw you holding it in your right hand. She's like, this right hand. And it's missing. And it went viral. I like her sense of humor because the cop asked her hand to God, say you weren't holding it in your right hand. She held up her, again, arm with no hand. And she's like, oh, hand to God, I didn't have it. I like this bitch. I don't know what her name is. I like her spirit. I like her sense of humor. I like the fact that she got pulled over and didn't get a ticket for once. That's sweet. Getting pulled over and not getting a ticket and knowing you're right. There's no way she could have had that phone in her hand because she didn't have a hand. And I think, again, I'm pretty sure I don't want to, speak on her behalf by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to just say that to me, it seems like that one moment, that one singular moment is just, I think that makes up for not having a hand. I'm going to go out on the limb here. That one moment, because, when people might accuse you of doing something and you're like, oh, I didn't do it. And you're like, prove it. And you're like, bam, right there, no hand. All her life, she might have not felt like it was worth it. But I think that one moment where it's captured on video and you're about to get a ticket for holding a phone in your right hand, you're like, I've never had a right hand, or maybe I lost it. in a hand accident, in a freak hand-to-hand sport act, in a freak, hand modeling accident, in a freak handshake accident, in a freak hand job accident, I lost my right hand. You never know what people's stories are, but I love that story. I love it. I want more people to engage in terms of just celebrating people with missing limbs. And there's a lot of pros. There's a lot of pros of not having a hand, and a right hand, that is. In this case, it happened to be not getting a ticket for holding your phone. In other instances, I could think of a million ways why I would, I love my body parts. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm gonna give up any body parts, but not having a particular body is not probably the worst thing either. And this one instance shows that it's worth it. Not getting that ticket makes everything pretty much, it's probably better to not have the hand than it's better to not have the hand than have the hand and get a ticket. I'll say that. This is one of those moments. Because think about it. How many times have you had to, using your right hand, because most people shake hands with the right, how many times have you had to shake a hand because you had a right hand? You're like, oh man, I guess this, John's going for the handshake. I guess I gotta fucking go for again with the fucking handshake. How many times have you had to, shake a hand where you didn't want to shake a hand? Think about that. Imagine you didn't have that right hand. How many times have you had to, give a hand job and you're like, man, I don't want to give this hand job. I don't want to give this hand job with my dominant hand. But you got it. And you're like, okay, we're here, I guess. I guess we're here. Okay, I guess, and there you go. So how many times has that happened? Ladies, and to my fags out there, you know what I'm talking about. How many times you're like, I wish I could get out of this only if I was missing a hand, but call it a handful. And you can't get out of it. Or how many times people fucking jump up to you in the streets, they want to high five you up in the air in the streets, and you're like, this guy's midair now. This guy's midair, and I don't want to be that dude not jumping up and high fiving with my right hand. And it's just too much burden. It's just too much burden, and you're trying to save to buy your lovely wife and daughters some protective, bulletproof bras for this Christmas, and this guy's all just like, I just want to high five you, mid-street high five, and you're like, well, I can't let him hang. So how many times has that happened? How many times have you gone to the bathroom and had to wipe your ass using your dominant hand? You're like, man, I wish I switched it up and sometimes wipe with my left, but you never have, because you've always relied on your dominant hand. Most people right-handed, so you never gave your left hand a chance to wipe your ass, Or how many times have you wanted to finger bang your chick? You wanted to finger bang her with your non-dominant hand. But again, society tells you got to go in there with the hand that's got the most strength. How do you know how much strength your non-dominant hand has if you've never given it a chance? Again, think about this. So I could think of a million ways where it benefits you not to have a right hand. And again, this ticket not being able to be given out is one instance, but I just, provided you a bunch of examples. If you can, how many times does a guy look at you and be like, you want to fucking arm wrestle? And you're like, I don't want to, but I got this right hand, so I guess we're arm wrestling now. How many times? Again, it's probably in the billions. But who's counting anyway, and who's keeping score? Who's keeping s'more? Who's keeping floor? Who's keeping door? Who's keeping whore? The point is, rhyming words. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that that's just some benefits right there of not having a right hand. Pros of not having a right hand. Now this one, if you've got anybody if you're squeamish, if you are, if you get scared easily, if you throw up easily, if you're like, I don't know if I can, because this one, if I'm giving you a chance, I'm just going to count to 3, 2, because this one's going to get it's a stomach charter. It's going to fucking make you it's going to make you feel like, oh my God, give me a bucket. I'm going to have to throw up. And I'll just get right into it. 3, you had your chance to walk away. 3, 2, and 1. Prince Andrew. Something just came out about Prince Andrew you thought it was dark before. You thought the rumors and the allegations and the Virginia Jeffrey bitch that allegedly had sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17 in the UK, which is, again, apparently that's fine, but apparently there have been more rumors and allegations. Who knows? But apparently she ended up committing suicide, which everybody thinks is murder, but nonetheless, allegedly, you thought all that was bad. You know, the photos of him, you know, the line on top of, you know, who knows, alleged young ladies, who knows, being besties with Epstein, all that. You thought all that was bad. You thought going on an island was bad. You thought, you know, befriending the different types of, you know, high echelon people in society. Well, you thought all that was bad. The most disgusting thing that came out of this story right now, apparently there's a book. It's a book or a novel or a pamphlet or a vlog or something. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you, but there's apparently more to the story. What's more disgusting than the alleged, you know, pedophilia and the involvement with the trafficking and whatnot, what's most disgusting is apparently Prince Andrew has a teddy bear. I can't even come to... Get it together, man. I'm sorry, my body had a reaction. Apparently Prince Andrew had... As I can't even say it without throwing a teddy bear collection. A grown man having... I'm gonna throw... I think I just sharted all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. I think I just sharted all over the place. This is apparently Prince Andrew has a teddy bear collection that he travels with, and he tells, you know, help. He tells the help to like go get it from abroad. If the teddy bears are not traveling with... Oh my God, this is disgusting. This is it's, again, some people, vast majority of people say it's even more disgusting than pedophilia. That a grown man travels with teddy bears and he's got a teddy bear collection. Where's the justice for that? You know, he should be locked up for that alone. I mean, forget the allegations and the suicide murders and all that. Forget all of that for the teddy bear story alone. If that's not a good enough reason to arrest somebody, and I mean, what are we even talking about? You might as well just... I don't know. I just threw up, and I just threw up in my own mouth. That's disgusting. Please get the word out somehow. No grown men should be collecting teddy bears. Again, this is just when you think you've heard it all. Just when you think you've seen it all. It can't get any. There's always a bottom to the bottom. Apparently, there's always a bottom to the bottom. Who knew? Who knew? A teddy bear fetish. Apparently, I don't even, if he collect, what does he do with them? He probably fucks the teddy bears. He probably snuggles with it after he does horrible, horrendous things with underage children, probably, allegedly. He probably fucks the teddy bears. Oh my God, he probably fucks the teddy bears in the face. He's probably like drilled holes in their mouths and he's got like a bear fetish. Oh man, it's a fucking teddy. Oh man, it's a teddy bear fetish. He's got a teddy bear fetish. Holy shit. You thought you heard it all. You thought that's dark as it's gonna get. You're like murder, suicide, rape allegations. That's as dark as it. Apparently it goes even deeper. Apparently he likes to fuck teddy bears up the ass, apparently. Holy shit. And again, these teddy bears don't have a voice. They can't protect themselves. Who knows how many teddy bears he snuggled with and sniffed and maybe jizzed on and gifted to people, but then changed his mind and took it back. Who knows? Good God, arrest him. Every town, every city needs a hero. Sometimes those heroes come in different shapes and sizes. In this case, it's sometimes you might be looking for a hero and you're not gonna... I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. Who's the hero? Who's the villain? What is going on? All I know is that it does sound like Zoran Memdani and the Bad Landlords. That actually sounds like a punk rock band. I kind of like the name. I don't like what's going on in particular, but I'm not quite sure what's going on. I believe I heard Zoran Memdani, mayor of New York. Zoran Memdani said he's gonna grab the land ownership from bad landlords and give it to non-profits and to randos. And people were cheering. People were cheering because I guess it's, in some, it could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. If you think, if you think communism is a good thing, then it's a good thing. If you think it's just too much of a responsibility to own your piece of land or any land, if you think that's too much, nobody should have that much responsibility except the government. Only the government should own the land. If you think that way, then that's a good thing. Because you never know. Somebody might end up being a bad landlord, and you need to go in there and confiscate their land and give it to non-for-profits, which we've covered briefly in this podcast. Not this part, but we've touched on. I'm pretty sure we touched on it at some points. Non-profits are basically lies, dirty lies. There's disgusting lies because there's no business out there that's for non-for-profit. So he wants to take these landlords' lands, these bad land. What makes a bad landlord? Who knows? One day it could be a legitimate bad landlord, like a bad, like he fucking sees you and spits on you, or sees you in the hallway and pisses on you, or sees you and stabs you, or sees you and fucking shanks you, or sees you and gets a tattoo gun and starts tattooing your eyeball. That's a bad landlord. God. I'm still not sure that we should remove his property rights. That maybe you should move, but nonetheless, in that instance, you could say maybe that's a bad landlord. But that's the thing; it's a slippery slope, because who's a bad landlord and who's a good landlord? That's where it gets tricky. But a large number of people are, retarded out there. Which, because again, I see this, it's happening in New York. I'm like, well, it's happening in New York. But then just yesterday, I'm walking in the streets, as I do. I'm walking in the streets, having my sippy of the old coffee, smoking my cigs. I see across the street from me, 30 people, 30, 40 people, 20, 30, 40 people gathered in an area. And I like people gathering in areas. But for a second, I'm like, what's going on out there? So I raise my head. What do I notice? They're holding giant banners with the hammer and sickle and something Canadian Communist Party, something communist. I'm like, geez, bright red, giant, poster, hammer and sickle, a bunch of them on one side of the street, a whole bunch of them on the other side of the street. I'm like, it's 2026. It's 2026. And again, it's ideas like this that just make me a little bit, it just doesn't make me feel too good, but at the same rate, I don't know I'm trying to, get a read of what the masses are seeking, and apparently it's too much to be a property owner. It's just too much. So let that responsibility lay on the shoulders of the government. You shouldn't own anything. You should not, because you might be a good landlord to begin with. You're like, he got in there with the best of intentions, but once he became a landlord, he became the worst landlord. You know what I'm talking about. You go in there with a plan. You're like, I'm going to own a couple of houses. One of the only things that's a little bit stable in this day and age, property. And you're like, you go in there, fucking, with a sparkle in your eye, and you think that this is going to be, and then next thing you know, you're boozing and drinking, and you're gambling, and you're getting involved in heavy drug trafficking and sex trafficking, and you become a bad landlord now. And we can't have that. It's too dangerous for you to become a landlord. It's actually safer for you to never become a landlord. That's why Zoran Memdani and the Communist Party would like to take over your property and relieve you of that responsibility of ever having the opportunity to maybe become a bad landlord, which, by the way, was one of my childhood dreams and still is. I have got many dreams, and it's, priorities. One of them was to become a slumlord. I want to become a slumlord so bad. I want to become a slumlord, but again, I see the people on the streets with the hammer and the sickle, and I see Zoran Memdani saying he wants to take ownership and slide it over to non-for-profits, and I'm like, this son of a bitch doesn't want to see a player become a slumlord and make some bank down the line. God damn it. So I don't know what to do about that, but I think I'm doing my part. I'm doing my little part. Hopefully other people will, realize that you too can become a slumlord one day. And if you just, realize that you can, you will, you'll work to it, you will. It's not easy, but you will. You can't all be slumlords because, you need, but nonetheless, the point is, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to make bank being good, and then eventually I'll break it all down, and I'll fucking gentrify. I'll gentrify, which is a dirty word sometimes, but People don't complain when the neighborhood's clean. It's also got, you grow up, you're like, sometimes it's nice to have a clean neighborhood. I get that aspect of it as well. I get that. So yeah, I want to maybe be a slumlord and then maybe gentrify the neighborhood. Not this one, but some other neighborhood down the line. But who knows? Can a boy turn into a man and still dream? RFK Jr. back to back. This is 2 days in a row now. I've never had this. This is a first for the podcast. We've never had a story like this. It's a back-to-back story, 2 stories that are back-to-back for the second time in 2 days, I think. A couple of days ago, just on Wednesday, we storied about RFK Jr. going there and wrangling snakes at Dr. Oz's lair. 2 days later, or a couple of hours after, he was at his home during a business meeting or something, and again, I'm not quite sure what is happening. I can only deduce what is happening. He found out somehow. He was in a business call, in a business meeting at his home. His instincts spoke with him. He said, it said to him, RFK Jr. RFK Jr. It's his own voice. It's not anybody else's. RFK Jr. I sense that there are snakes outside of your home. So he got up mid-meeting at home. All right, he got up and he went there, and I saw the snake this time. It wasn't yesterday or a couple of days ago. It was a couple of black razor snakes. And you never know. Life is like a box of snakes. And today, here we got a rattlesnake that I'm going to grab and wrangle. I don't know what it is. I think right now, I'm not sure if maybe RFK Jr. was close. Maybe low-key somehow. This is all fucking interconnected like a web. Maybe he was near the Washington chemical tank explosion, and maybe he got exposed to some chemicals. Maybe these are the signs of, maybe this is like, how in a game you unlock new, fucking powers. There's maybe like a new mode, you never even knew this player had this mode, but now he's got a superpower. This is his thing. Again, I don't know how superpowers work. Maybe he got exposed to a chemical. Now he just feels the snakes wherever he's at. He's becoming a positive Slytherin, a good Slytherin, like a good-hearted Slytherin. And most of them are not that good because, again, based on the depiction of the characters, it doesn't matter. But he's a good Slytherin. I can sense the goodness in him. So he's connected with the snakes. You don't choose your powers. They're given to you. So he connects with the snakes. Now he's getting these instinctual abilities to pick up where the snakes are. And he'll still be on top of Maha. He will still be on top of it. I'm sure of it. He will still do all that good work there, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he can wrangle snakes. Can he talk with snakes? Is RFK Jr. Can he talk with the snakes and low-key can he summon the snakes? RFK Jr. should summon. I'm gonna summon these snakes, and if there's any sort of threats coming from anyone, whether it be terrorists looking to take out our hot bitches or endanger our animals or our youth, I will guide the snakes, and they'll pounce on your neck, and they'll come at your jugular. They'll come at your jugular, and they'll get you, your jugular and your nuts. The snakes, I can train them. It's very easy to train a snake to bite your nuts. He'll do that. It's his new superpower. I think. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. But again, it's deep down inside, I think it's the fumes from the chemical tank explosion, but who knows? It could just be innate. Sometimes you need to sit and ask yourself, is there anything inside me that I could cultivate into a superpower? And again, you just let nature flow within you and step out of your own way. And before you know it, you too could be wrangling snakes, So we've never had this before. We've never had this. Again, I don't know if it's just like he woke up one day and he's like, fucking, I'm into snakes now. I don't know. Was he always into snakes? Did he always have it? Did he know at a young age he was tied with the snakes? Did he know that? Or is it a superpower that's just recently developed due to different chemicals and exposure? Who knows? What I do know is that a company recently decided to go woke and started to go broke. That's what a major global company decided to go woke and broke. Ferrari, I'm not quite sure if they went woke and broke, but nonetheless, you hear about these companies sometimes going woke and then sometimes going broke too. Ferrari released its new EV vehicle costing $640,000. Ferrari just released its first electric vehicle costing $6 trillion and $64 trillion. Ferrari just released its first EV. It's called the Luce. It's going for 64 gajillion thousand bajillion dollars. One more take just to be safe. Ferrari just introduced its new Luce electric vehicle going for 640 zillion thousands of dollars. No man can afford the new Ferrari Luce. Apparently it's a new EV. I didn't like the way it looks. That's just hard take on it. You go woke, you go broke. Apparently this car is equipped with dildos. They're like, we're seeking to tap into a new, market, and we want to deviate from the traditional market for Ferrari consumers. We want to tap into. So that's, you open the glove compartment, boop, 5 dildos fucking jump out at you. You go to plug it in to charge it, dildos just like come out the windows. That's they're tapping into a new market. You pop the hood open, there's no engine, but there's like 12 dildos just vibrating, which is, you go walk, you go broke. That's what they say on the street. So no one's apparently buying this car. People are not happy with it. Like, that's too much dildo, not enough car. What makes cars, a big aspect of cars in the car industry and like selling cars, it's sexiness. The car has to be sexy. There's just, I'm sorry, there's nothing sexy about electric vehicles. Absolutely nothing. There's not, and I had to keep an open mind. There's nothing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if we can fix it. I don't know if it's like, the designs are hideous. The charging aspect of it sucks. No one looks cool. I've seen people at gas stations where they go to the electric zone where they plug in their car. They look retarded. They look like cucks. They look, all men, women, they look like cucks. It's just, I don't know what, and then I look over to people pumping gas. It's oozing with sex appeal, and it's just random, everyday, regular folk oozing with sex. It doesn't even matter what kind of car they're driving. As soon as you grab that nozzle and put it in the gas tank, it's just like pumping it. It's just something about the fumes, something about the clicking of the old pump, something about the fact that you're, I don't know, reaching into the ground and extracting some sort of oil that takes a long time to process, and it travels to many places before it gets, but something about that is sexy. You see a woman pumping gas, you're like, she's in her mid-50s, but I can imagine her one day being in her mid-20s and wearing a red dress and kind of rubbing her clit on the side of this car. One day, back in her prime, she used to be a hottie. Or you look at a man and you're like, man, this guy, again, 70 years old, pumping, but I bet he had an arm. He had an arm when he was in his 20s or something. You say these things to yourself. Look at the EV, nothing. My cock just fucking wants to rip itself off my body and go live a hermetic life in the woods and just never speak of this experience ever again. That's what my cock does when it sees an EV being charged. I've had my cock just look at me and threaten me. I'm like, that's not even my car. It's like, I still don't want to be near it. Don't want to be near it. That's what my cock said to me the other day. But it's EVs again. But that's the Ferrari Luce. Everybody goes through phases. I'm not saying that they went full woke and broke, but low-key, we'll see how it does in the market. I like cars. I'm not a big car guy, but I do enjoy a good, sexy car. Ferraris, when you're young, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, these are like the two big names. Internationally, everybody knows them. You're like, Ferrari, Lamborghinis are great cars. I don't know if they're the best cars. I don't, you grow a little bit, you age a little. I don't care about brands or whatnot, or, even if, if I have the opportunity, maybe one day I'll buy one. But again, there's a ton of, you grow up and you're like, there's a ton of options. I might go for something else. So it's whatever. That's what happens. You open up the trunk, apparently dildos pop out at you, and it just looks like a regular run-of-the-mill EV electric car. It does nothing for people. People were about to have sex and they saw the Luce and they didn't. This is the statistics. Some people were reported about to have babies, but then saw the Luce. They're like, no babies, no. And that's what's leading us to go down a spiral of population decline because people saw products like the lucha and they're like, no, not in this world, not gonna act, not in this world. No, people said that. People said, then they got divorced immediately after too, twice, so to ensure they never even get remarried. And again, we don't control the narrative, we just are a part of it. Now, the worst part about a great guitar solo is that you can't hear it, because that's, people are like, oh, you gotta hear this great guitar solo, and you're just like, it's so low that I can't hear it. But you're like, it's great, this great guitar solo. Do you enjoy this guitar solo? I'm like, how about raising it up a little? What about the volume then? What about the volume? It's a great guitar solo. I can't hear anything. It's solo, but it's a great guitar solo. Well, it needs to be high enough so that people can hear. If it's a great guitar so low that people can't hear it, how do you expect people to be like, that's a good guitar solo? If it's so low that no one can hear it, like, that's great. I mean, maybe other people have better like hearing. I've got decent, I've got good hearing. I got decent regular hearing. I'm not saying like I'm some sort of like, not some sort of like hearing fiend or some sort of like, hearing pervert out there. But like, I hear normal. But then you hear like people are like, you gotta listen to this great guitar solo. Like, well, do you want me to hear it or not, dude? I don't know what you're trying to do here. Like, you gotta hear this great guitar solo. I'm like, well, it's got to be up to a level where I can at least hear it. If not, otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about. Can't hear sounds that are not there. But a guitar solo, it's great. Is it? If it's solo that no one can hear, is it that great? Is it? All right. You gotta get a great guitar solo for what? And first and foremost, I gotta say, I don't advocate it, but I can see how one can lead that path of wanting to get a guitar solo. I gotta get a guitar solo. Some people say that, and you're like, I don't know why you're after this, but I guess I'll help you out. I'll help you. If you want to get a guitar solo, you gotta break that guitar down. You gotta break that guitar down. You gotta break it down and then reshape it. Break down its confidence. Go up to this guitar that you gotta get so low. And start, just fucking picking at it. Just be like, yo, you suck. And then, little by you suck, tell that to the guitar. So, you want to break its confidence. You suck. You're the worst guitar. All the other guitars are out there running around having a lot of fun. And guess what? You can't do that. And low key, just little by little, break down its confidence so that it gets low and depressed. And start feeding it pills. Give the guitar pills so that it becomes dependent on antidepressants, and that's how you gotta. Again, I don't know why people want to do this, but some people do. Like, you gotta have a great guitar solo. You gotta get a guitar solo. How low do you want to take this back? I say if you get it to go up to the point of like borderline suicidal, I think that's good enough. You don't need to go beyond. Let's not have guitars committing suicide. And I'm here for it. If people like it, people like it. All right, but to get a guitar so low to be just like. But at that point, once you do break it to the point where it thinks it's worthless, you could reshape it and remold it back to what you want it to be like. And that's maybe where greatness fucking comes from. Who knows? But people say, you gotta get a guitar solo, or you gotta hear that guitar so low. And it's like, man, this guitar's got no confidence. It's got no, what happened? It's what's happening. And it's like, well, you spent a lot of time just bashing it over and over. I don't know why anybody would even desire to have that. What are you gonna do with that guitar solo that's, just sitting at a bar drinking, and not bathing or not shaving or not taking care of itself, and going out there and exploring life and driving around and taking flights and maybe getting a bitch pregnant? What happened to that guitar? But no, apparently a lot of people love guitar solos. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here to say that I have heard, of course, like many of you out there, that there is a $250 bill being discussed. We're talking about the options of a $250 bill with President Trump's image on top of it. Thoughts on this matter? I'm here for it. First and foremost, we've never had a $250 bill of, I don't think we've ever, I don't think so. I didn't bother to check, to be honest with you. I think there might be like, I've heard of the $1,000 bill. I think I might have even, God, not sure to be honest with you, but 250 does sound good. I like it. I'm here for it. I'm not sure what the laws are, but laws were meant to be bent. No, laws were meant to be broken. Laws, if they were too outdated, dude, I think because there's a thing I think that says like no living presidents. I think that's lame. Again, it's 2026. Why not? Why not? Put his image on the bill. I like it. One thing I do want to say, I saw the picture of Trumpezi's head for the bill. I think just pick a better image because he's low key. Is just the angle of the head is looking down on the bill. It's kind of looking, that's kind of tilting down slightly. And I'm just, because people are going to be using this for a long time. Just have it looking either straight, like, just straight at people, or slightly up, because like straight or up says, to me at least, straight or up says optimistic. The future is, fucking yes, let's go. Down is kind of like low-key, like looking at you and kind of like, it's just slightly tilt the head, slightly, that's my only omission, slightly tilt the head. Otherwise, I'm here for it. We could use a new bill. Make it like, fucking, don't make it, give it color, give it some color. I wouldn't even be opposed to using some sort of, either an artist or some sort of AI rendition of, do we need to go full realistic? Because if we don't, I say we keep the head, but we low-key the Rambo body on top of the Trumpezi's head on top of the Rambo body on a $250 bill. That is kind of, you smack that down on any table, deals are going to be made. I mean, you know what I'm talking. People are going to forget, dude. Forget about right now, today, 20, 30, 50 years from now. You pass that bill to somebody, Trump said, Rambo body, deals are going to be made, and that says, fucking, this currency is dominant, Maybe make it a little bit bumpy. Why don't we have bumpy? Remember when you were a kid and there were like engravings or like bumpy? I'm not talking about Braille or anything for the, what I'm doing. This isn't some sort of, we don't care for the blind here. Don't get me twisted. You know what I mean? They're all right, but like I'm not gonna appease the, I'm not gonna, bow down to the blind and be like, my bread and butter is the ableist community. Of course, I've always said that, but you've touched a few papers, drawing things or, coloring in things. And sometimes the paper had bumps on it. It felt nice. If it was like, there was something a little bit, felt good to touch those bumps. I don't know what it is. Low key, just give it a little bit of a bump is all I'm saying. Kind of like make it like 3D, not fully 3D, but like, just like have a shine to it, tilt the head slightly. And $250, again, the value is good. You put that on anybody's, you slide that $250 bill to anyone, that the entrance that you were previously not granted is now you're going to a club. Now you're going to that club. What did you do? You put a 250 crisp, 250 Trumpezi right there, dude, on the palm of that man's hand, and now you're going in. You want a reservations for that seemingly full restaurant? Slide one of those $250 bills with Trumpezi's face on it. Next thing you know, a whole family's getting kicked out to the curb so you and your family can sit down. You want to put a deposit for your new car? Fucking crisp $250 bills right there with that bumpy printed 3D fucking, just head tilted up with a positive attitude and a good smile saying, yes, we can afford things. That note, that bill says, I'm here to fuck shit up with some, with some spending. And I'm here for that. So those are my thoughts on it. Haters are gonna hate, of course. They're like, oh, he needs to, people need to have been long gone before we give him before we put his, to give the man his face on a bill. All right, why not? If they're, what's the point? The other ones don't even know that their faces are on bills. Why would you? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You want to put people who are living, you want to put their faces on the bills, not dumb dead people who don't even. Why do we put dead people's faces on bills? It should actually be reversed. There should be like no. As soon as people die, then I say we do that. Living presidents only, and then you die, we remove it. That's because what? Or we keep it because it is a cool design. If everything I said gets implemented, the Rambo body and the 3D bumps on the bill. Nonetheless, I'm saying the rules sometimes need to be bent and or twisted or changed for good. Now this is a little bit, I'll start by saying this. This could have happened to anyone. No one should be ashamed of this. No one should be ashamed of this. Australia, Sydney, these are my people. I've never been. I'd like to visit one day. These are my kangaroo folks. These are my boomerang fellas and ladies. You know what I'm talking about. These are my shrimp on the bobbies. You know what I'm talking about. These are my fucking crocodile wrangling, short wearing, cigarette smoking, booze drinking, sunscreen avoidance, beach going, surfing, turfing people. These are my Aussies. I love the Aussies. But something happened, and again, we are a global community after all, and what happens someplace, it's a little bit further, doesn't mean that you are not impacted or that it can't happen to you. They were gonna have a drone show in Sydney, and they did. They had a drone show, a drone fest. I don't know what it was called. Destination Drone City. Stop at Sydney. Whatever I don't know the name of the festival. It was Drone Fest 2026, Sydney, Australia. That's what it was called. I think. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. That's aside the point. They had a drone show. The drones went up in the air, and then unfortunately, there was some sort of. And this is, again, they've done a lot of good. The Aussies have done a lot of good. This one's low-key a little bit embarrassing because the drones fell out of the sky. And not something you can't come back from. But again, I just want to say, it's totally normal. It happens to the best of us. Drones that go up sometimes come down a little bit prematurely, okay? I'm not going to stand here before you and say that I've not had a couple of premature drone malfunctions myself. There's nothing to be ashamed of after a certain age. It's very normal and natural. Low-key, I lied. To be honest, I've never experienced any sort of drone malfunction. I'm sorry, it's just, I can't. I don't, but I could imagine what it would feel like. It's children saw the drones going down and they started to immediately bawl their eyes out and they were crying to their mothers and fathers. And then their Australian accents, they said, Mama, Dad, why the drone go down? And that's what they did in Australia. And the mothers and fathers had to turn the children's eyes away and distract them with treats like ice cream sandwiches and or hot dogs, and say, don't mind the falling drones. It happens all the time, knowing full well that it doesn't. Of course, that is preventable. You could, it's a drones are a lifestyle. It's not something you can just one day willy-nilly drone. And I'm not saying that the Australian and Sydney folk are the elk who go out there and willy-nilly things. I'm saying that, it hasn't happened to me personally, but it's proper diet. It's a little bit of exercise. These are things that the Aussies are known for anyway. So again, not quite sure what happened. I'm sure there's things you could take to avoid some sort of malfunction in the drone-roo area, if you know what I mean. A little bit, and there's no shame in getting a little bit of help. There's no shame, okay? And maybe the drones got shy. Maybe the drones were out late last night partying. You know what I'm talking about. You're kicking back a few. Maybe there's a little bit of a, you're climbing a little snow mountain for yourself in Australia. I'm not sure. I don't do it myself, but maybe you were. Maybe you were, on those hills, on those beautiful white hills. Maybe you're surfing, if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're snowboarding, if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're playing with snow. Is that clear enough? Maybe you're doing coke last night. I don't know. Maybe you're having coke ball fights. Maybe you're grabbing coke, forming it into balls like snow, and tossing out one another's faces. And then the following day, you got a drone show, you're like, I could drone show all day, every day, no matter how much snowballs are thrown at my face. But one thing leads to another, and the next thing you know, it's fucking up, 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 and then down, and then that has a rippling effect in society where, again, children get impacted, they become depressed. Parents see the depression in their children, they start to distance themselves from one another. They are now not making love as much as they used to. Open up the borders, away with property rights, away with freedom of speech. Next thing you know, it's a combination of some sort of, communist, Islamist caliphate, and you're like, how do we get here? To that I say, there's still things that we could do to fight these. They're not. I don't think it's the worst. I don't think it's not the end of the. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the day even. It's just the beginning of the day. So together we can, just little tiny baby steps. We could make sure that we all one day have drones that are rock solid and property rights that are written in blood, no stone, some like good solid property rights. Somewhere deep down inside, you can look back and say, we did it together. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace out. Get out of here.